So tonight's a disassembly video about semi-automatics. So most semi-automatics have some kind of takedown pin. For an example, Beretta 92FS, this guy right here. You press the button on the opposite side, you rotate this guy, and the slide comes off. Pretty simple, right? Take a totally different brand made in a totally different country. Taurus, right? You got this guy here. You lock your slide rearward. You rotate your takedown pin down 90 degrees. You pull that out. Slide comes right off. Okay? Pretty simple. Pretty cut and dry. Some guns don't have a takedown pin like that. Kel-Tec, for an example, just has this little pin right here. The way it works, you insert an empty mag, you lock it back, and it's actually designed that a case, an empty casing goes in and clicks this little pin out. Take it apart enough times you can do it with a bare fingernail, but you take an empty casing, okay, and you just click this guy out, okay, and you take your slide off. Glocks, I don't own a Glock, but Glocks, they've got the little pull tabs. What do? You pull the two little tabs down, slide the slide off. Okay, so pretty much all made that way. Until I bought this guy. Okay, I've always been fascinated by World War I, World War II memorabilia, Civil War even. I like stuff like that, and I had a chance to buy a 1911. This is a 1911 A1. This is designed to be very much like what the GIs carried. It's got the palm safety, the flip safety, single action only. So the safety only goes on if the hammer's back. Empty mag, obviously. And I bought this gun and I looked and I said, well, there's the slide release and there's the safety. There's the mag release. And I said, okay, well, you grab the slide release, let that forward. And I said, where's the takedown pin? Huh. And I started looking. I didn't realize how to take this apart. And the manual for it was pretty crummy. So I wanted to just do a quick video of how to take a 1911 apart because it's made so different from every other gun that I've ever owned. It's not like other semi-automatics. It's just different. So the first thing you're going to do is stare right down the barrel. This thing has what's called a barrel bushing, and you're going to push this rod in. Okay, you push that rod in until you can turn that barrel bushing. Okay, so you see it's starting to turn there, and it's really hard to do this and stay on camera, and you have to be very, very careful not to let that guy go flying. But you get that loose and you take that out. Okay, so you got that. This barrel bushing will actually, if you turn it in the correct direction, come out, and you're going to have to take it out. And so you get it turned and you get it lined up, and when you get it lined up, you'll know because it'll slide out. So you take your barrel bushing out. That's step one. Okay. Step two is you slide your slide back. Yeah, you lose parts is what you do. You slide your slide back until that little notch. See that tiny little notch right there? When that little notch right there lines up with your slide lock, that notch you push right here. Okay, that pushes flat. It wasn't flat before. Now this guy's sticking out, and you just pull it out. So there's your top view. You just pull it out. Okay, and that's your takedown pin. Okay, and then from there, guess what? Off comes your slide assembly. Not like a normal slide. A normal slide for a normal gun, the barrel lifts up and out. You tug and pull all you want. This barrel is not coming up and out of there. Barrel comes out the front. It's a very different assembly process and disassembly process from a standard firearm. Barrel goes back in the front, all the way back till it clicks on the locking lugs. Okay, lock it all the way up. Spring. You got this little curve at the bottom that lines up with the bottom of the barrel. So you put your spring through, that lines up with the bottom of the barrel. I like to put this round piece, give or take, about right there. It tends to line up really nicely if you put it right there, not quite all the way forward. So lay that down. I gotta go get the piece that I dropped. It goes on the end of the spring. This thing here will go flying. You have to be very, very careful. Having grown up around semi-automatics but never seeing a 1911, it was a very new concept for me, and I really had no clue how to take this thing apart. And the owner's manual, this is an auto ordnance. It's a great gun. I like it a lot. It's very period specific. It's very much tries to be what the GIs carried. But I really, you know, the manual is not that good. No offense, auto ordnance, but it really isn't. So anyway, you get your slide back on, and you're going to get, again, this little notch right here. You're going to want to line it up with this area right here. Okay, you're going to line that up. You're going to take your takedown pin, and you're going to put it in. Okay, and you'll notice that little circular part I was telling you about earlier has to line up, and this has to go through it. That's what actually retains the barrel. A lot of people will put this on right here, and then they'll go to swing it up, and they'll get this nasty scratch on their gun. Okay, and especially this is a parkerized finish. It's really easy to mar. What I find is easiest to do is to put it up here, and there's a little detent. I don't know if you can even see that. It's a tiny little detent right there. Is to put it up where it's supposed to be almost, and work it over that detent. It's rounded. See where that's rounded at the back? You want to line that up and get it not against the gun but close, and push it up over that detent, and then push it in. Okay? So once you're up and over that detent, you can just shove it right in, and as I lose the part again. And you kind of get the idea here that we're going for. And there you go. You hear it snap in place. Once that's snapped in place, you're good. You move your slide back to its forward position. And one little trick I've learned is you can click your safety on. Now your slide is stuck. That safety is going to hold that slide in position. And now you got to put this and your barrel bushing back. So let's go do that. So if I can find the part that fell. Alright. So now, always want to put your barrel bushing in first. And if you can remember this, it's clockwise to go in, and then counterclockwise to reseat your recoil spring. Okay, so it's clockwise if the gun's pointing at you. Clockwise is the position that the bushing comes out. You put it in, rotate it over, only because it rotates further in this direction. It rotates further counterclockwise. You put this guy on, and here's the fun part, is you've got to depress this and not lose it. And so you depress that, and then try to get the bushing over it without losing it. Okay? So you get the bushing over it, and then you slowly but surely work it back into place. Voila. Take your safety off, and then I'm always a stickler for checking function once I put one back together. You know, so just making sure that it's going to function after I've put it back together. So a 1911, very, very different assembly procedure from a standard semi-automatic. It's just not what you're used to. I bought this gun because I like the way it looks. I bought this gun for range time. It's a good shooter. It's a long barrel, nice and heavy. Shoots a 45 ACP pretty well. I always like to cycle the trigger a few times and cycle a slide a few times after I've reassembled a gun, and then put it up in safe like that with the trigger, with the hammer down. But I wouldn't carry this for self-defense because it is single action. You have to manually cock that hammer back, and I don't think that's a good idea in a self-defense gun. But it is a great gun to own. A lot of people do carry them. That's a personal choice of yours, but if you ever want to buy one of these, they all come apart about the same. They all have this barrel bushing. Really high-end ones will have a barrel bushing that requires a wrench to remove, and that's a real pain. But your standard 1911 A1s that are kind of this is what a GI carried, like this guy, the auto ordnance. Parkerized 1911. You know, they're going to have that standard barrel bushing that just comes out by pushing this spring in and twisting that thing counterclockwise. So anyway, how to disassemble a 1911. Fun little video, and hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helps someone. And if you have any questions, let me know.